Hello. This is my creation myth. It is called Solu, the Moon Warrior. There's a lot more to this. It is a lot more complex. I created like a whole backstory and everything. I had to kind of dumb it down, shorten it, condense it to make it to the 10-minute mark. Yeah, and it has all the 17 points of the hero's journey, hopefully. So here we go. Solu wakes up to something strange. A crescent moon has appeared on her wrist, glowing in the dark. Beside her bed are two crescent-shaped daggers. She is the chosen warrior of Tenebrae, the god of the moon, byproduct of the death of Desertum, god of everything in the earth. That very same night, she started having hallucinations and nightmares, visions of endless daylight and destruction. Solu thinks she knows what it means. She has to restore the balance between night and day. She doesn't want to, though. She's still grieving. She cannot forget or forgive herself for killing her best friend, Pravam. She has stayed hidden in the small town of Glanshell for years, trying to disappear. But the dreams eventually became worse and worse. They show her what will happen if Lux, the god of the sun, the opposite of Tenebrae, gains too much power. There will be no more night. The chosen warrior of Lux will destroy most of her world, Statera. She can't ignore it any longer. On her way out of town, she passes an old garage plant and finds something odd. A broken robotic pet, an era of a decade ago when robotic pets were all the rage in Statera. That is not the case any longer. She takes the broken robotic cat, repairs it, and finds out the cat calls itself Wrench. Wrench is sentient, can talk, tell jokes, and is actually a good partner that can give advice. Suddenly, she remembers Mrs. Blanche, her old math teacher. Miss Blanche was one of the only people in her life who ever made her feel safe. Her parents, Solu's parents, were around, but rarely. They were ambassadors to the Church of Lux growing up, so they were traveling the world, leaving Solu to fend for herself at home. So Miss Blanche was one of the only adults that felt like a parental figure in her life, made her feel safe. Her words and presence stick with Solu throughout her journey, almost like an apparition in her mind. Solu keeps a knife with her. This is the knife she used to stab her best friend Pravam. It reminds her of the terrible things she has done and how she must redeem herself and fight. To reach Samdel, her hometown, her homeland, which is one of the two supercontinents on the planet of Cetera, she boards a small boat. Her heart is pounding. She has not been back since the night of the murder. But as she nears the shore, a massive storm hits. Her boat is destroyed, and she and Wrench are thrown into the sea. Wrench hangs onto her backpack as they are thrown around in the rapid waters. Eventually, they make their way to shore, exhausted, and pass out on the shore. After they wake up on land, Solo tries to find food and tries to find shelter. She finds a mask on the beach and uses that to hide her face. Not really sure if anybody is still looking out for her for the murder of Pravam she committed years before. And, and this murder was done in Comectus, her hometown, a utopian tech city that was built on the crash site of a meteorite, and the rich metals from that meteorite have propelled the economy and made it a sprawling, rich tech town. In her way, when she goes into Comectus, she is immediately recognized. Hunter warriors from the Church of Lux are sent to capture her, including her father. Solo and her father fight. Her father doesn't realize it's her, though. They fight for a few minutes, exchanging blows, but never really getting anywhere. Eventually, he gets a blow to her face, and the mask is knocked off. The father is shocked. He is torn between his duty and his love for his daughter. Solo doesn't really feel anything except anger. She feels betrayed by her father's absence during her childhood. He tries to kill her, but his emotions leave him unable to do so. Solo takes that opportunity and stabs her father. She holds her father in her arms as he dies, and her father apologizes for being a terrible father. Solo cries, and her father dies in her arms. Solo remembers from her nightmare the path she needs to take to find a hidden temple near Comectus. So Solo finds that temple, and it's hidden in secret. She knows the ritual she must do. She cuts her palms and bleeds onto an altar as a sort of a ritual. Summoning a vision of Tenebrae, the god tells her she must defeat Lux's warrior to stop Eternal Day. Solo leaves and makes her way to the next town over, which is Grintridge. This is where the Lux warrior is rumored to live. Solo doesn't make it halfway until she is attacked by a phoenix, a creature from the trickster fire god Ignis. The phoenix revives every time she kills it. Every time she cuts off his head, it just immediately revives. In desperation, Rents remembers a cursed ice grenade that he had hidden within him, made from the god Glacius eons ago. Solo threw it, and this freezes the phoenix, and the phoenix falls from the sky and shatters. Only then does Solo notice that her fingers on her right hand are burnt so badly, these 3 fingers, that she has no choice but to cut them off and cauterize the wounds. Solo keeps moving, and she reflects on her math teacher, Mrs. Blanche. She realized that her bond with her was more than fantasy than real, almost schizophrenic. But the version of Miss Blanche in her mind still guides her, maybe even comforts her like a mentor, and maybe the only friend besides Wrench she has left. When she reaches Grintridge, she sees her father's funeral on a telegram or a hologram passing by a tech store. She sees the large funeral and thousands of people gathered. Her mother is walking past the casket as it walks down the hall of a church. It is at this moment her mother looks up at the camera and stares at it with tears in her eyes. Solo knows in this moment her mother somehow knows Solo's watching, and those tears are for her. It's at this moment she realizes that any hope of having a relationship with her parents is now completely dead and gone. She can no longer ever have that. In a small abandoned cabin on the edge of Grintridge, Solo searches for the Lux warrior. She breaks down the door and heads down into the basement. She sees 2 glowing eyes leap at her. She fights and fights with the masked figure. She's able, just like her father did to her, to land a blow on the mask, and the mask falls off. She can't believe what she's seeing. It's Pravum. Pravum cannot speak. His vocal cords have been destroyed by being stabbed by Solo. Solo pleads for Pravum to stop. Pravum has almost no emotion in his eyes. All he has is revenge. She fights him fiercely, and he will not stop. He is Lux's chosen warrior, marked by the sun on his wrist, something that Solo notices. At this moment, too, she realizes he is her opposite, the chosen warrior of Lux, and she is the chosen warrior of Tenebrae. Arch enemies that used to be best friends. They fight. Pravum stabs Solo in the back, She collapses. Pravum raises his sword to finish her, slowly putting his sword at her neck. It's in that moment that Solo is ready to give up everything. She already killed her best friend. Does she want to kill him twice? She's just going to let him end it. It's here she remembers the nightmare and visions that Tenebrae had put into her mind in dreams of a world ruined with permanent sunlight, crops devastated, and the Church of Lux destroying everything. She dodges the quick strike that Pravum attempts. It's at this moment she takes her daggers and slices them through Pravum's neck, decapitating him. This is the second time in Solo's life that she has killed her best friend. Solo collapses. Her mind fades to black. She wakes up in a white bed, looking at a ceiling of stars and a moon, lighting everything around her. She is very confused, but two hooded figures walk into the room and explain that this is another Tenebrian temple. She was rescued by the hooded figures just in time, too, because the Church of Lux had sensed that their chosen warrior had been killed, and they almost made it to the cabin before Tenebrian warriors had to save Solu. She is now revered, almost a godlike figure within the Church of Tenebrum, a living legend to the followers that she has gained. Before she can even take a breath of solitude, of solace, Lux hunters break the door down and storm the temple, figuring out where Solu was. The warriors in the temple try to hold them off, but it is just too many. The anger is too much. The hooded figures rush Solu to a hidden passage underground. She follows that hidden passage until she reaches a door which leads to outside. There she sees a beautiful giant moonwing, which is a giant owl. She gets on the back of the owl, and her and the owl fly off. She breathes a sign of relief, and she's able to fly for about 10 minutes. That is until the owl lets out a horrifying scream of pain. It has been hit by a Luxon railgun, piercing through the middle of the owl. The owl falls from the sky and crashes. Solu feels lucky. She can't feel any pain. But wait, she can't move. She is paralyzed as she sees the army of Luxon soldiers rushing towards her. All of a sudden, her body starts floating in the air, power pulsating through her. A giant flash of light rings out from her body, and again, everything fades to black. She wakes up, floating above the ground, in another white room with a white bed. She tries to touch the ground, but she cannot. She keeps floating. Miss Blanche walks in. Solo asks, "How is it you are here, Miss Blanche?" Miss Blanche replies with, "I've always been here, Solu." It is Tenebrae. Tenebrae explains how Mrs. Blanche has always been a figment of her imagination. It has really been Tenebrae keeping check on the chosen warrior he knew would be so important one day. So, and it turns out Solu actually died. That flash of white light was the last of her power Tenebrae had granted to her, decimating Lux's army around her. Her actions, though, saved the world. Lux's plan is halted, and it'll take another 10,000 years for the god Lux to raise enough energy to form another chosen warrior, as it will take Tenebrae another 10,000 years to also create another chosen warrior, continuing the vicious cycle. Solo is happy that the world is saved, but her heart is still heavy. She has lost too much. She has no parents. Her best friend Pravum is still dead. She must now live forever with the grief and knowledge that none of her relationships worked out. Thanks for listening.